Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Good afternoon. This is Tyler Bereskin, and these are your news headlines for 3 o'clock. Starting with a hantavirus update, the French passenger from the MV Honduras cruise ship has fallen critically ill due to hantavirus exposure. The passenger is currently in the hospital, where blood is being pumped through an artificial lung. The Paris hospital doctor treating the passenger says this is being done to ease the pressure currently on the passenger's heart and lungs. So far, the World Health Organization has confirmed 9 of the passengers have cases of hantavirus. The organization has also confirmed that 3 of the passengers have died from hantavirus. The cruise ship itself is sailing towards the Netherlands, where it will be disinfected. None of the passengers or crew members remain on the ship. The BC Nurses Union have voted largely in favor of a strike. The vote, which took place over the last 4 days, was put in motion in response to nurses' wages and workplace conditions. The union says that this is the largest strike mandate the union has ever had, with over 50,000 nurses voting in favor. BC Premier David Eby says he feels confident in his ability to work with the nurses' union towards a solution. The new Burnaby Hospital expansion is not as certain as it once was. Our reporter, Matthew Wong, has more information about why the Burnaby Hospital's Phase 2 contract has been cancelled.
The BC government cancelled the construction contract for Burnaby Hospital's Phase 2 development last month, leaving a planned 160-bed tower and cancer care facility in limbo. Fraser Health Senior Consultant of Public Affairs Nick England addressed the setback, saying the project remains a priority.
Government remains committed to this project, as is Fraser Health, and this project will move forward. We're exploring options to support capacity at Burnaby Hospital to help address current pressures and support the people we serve.
But despite the reassurance, no new contractor or timeline has been announced, leaving patients, staff, and families in the dark about when construction will actually resume. For a community that has waited years for this expansion, the wait continues. Matthew Wong, BCIT News.
BC Premier David Eby held a press conference today addressing some improvements the city of Vancouver is making in regards to FIFA. BC Place sits at the center of these upgrades, featuring more technology, a new pitch, and more hospitality within the stadium. The renovations will be funded by the government and support local businesses. Anticipated completion of the construction is before FIFA kicks off in Vancouver in a month. Langley is receiving more affordable housing for independent living seniors. The BC Housing Ministry is putting a new 8-story building in place that will include over 100 homes. Bathrooms, gardens, patios, and a lounge will all be features of the new building. The building will also be close by essential services and downtown attractions in Langley. A fire ban is happening earlier than usual this year. Our reporter, Garrett Rosehill, has more information on the ban.
It's an annual tradition for forest fires to occur in BC. Park rangers and fire prevention advocates are doing their best to mitigate fires in commonly affected areas in the province. But there are still areas of BC that are at risk of forest fires but are not as reachable. Many fires could occur deep in the forest with no nearby roads. Greg Gerard in the Disaster Preparedness Department of UBC gives his thoughts.
The other truth is that the fuel load across the province in areas that have not burned recently is enormous, and the temperatures are very, very high, and so it's not going to take much.
It is important to spread the word of fire safety to family and friends. Garrett Rosel, BCIT News.
Moving into national news, the flooding continues in Saskatchewan due to the melting snow. Saskatchewan has already broken flooding records, and the water levels look to continue increasing. Damage has occurred to multiple roads according to the Highway Ministry, but the cost of damage is too early to tell. The Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency says nearly 20 communities across the province continue to be held in a state of emergency. In international news, the US-based educational website called Canvas was recently hacked. However, as Mike Hempen reports, Canvas has reached a deal with the hackers.
Data stolen from an education platform is deleted in a deal with hackers. The company that operates the online learning system Canvas says it has reached a deal with hackers to delete the data they stole in the cyber attack last week that created chaos for many students. Instructure, the parent company of Canvas, hasn't provided any details of the deal, including whether a payment was involved. A hacking group named Shiny Hunters claimed responsibility for the breach. The data has been returned to Instructure, but the company says there is no way to know whether the data was erased for good. I'm Mike Hempen.
Prosecutors have filed criminal charges against the operator of the ship that crashed into Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge, leading to the deaths of 6 construction workers in March 2024. A key employee was also charged. Federal prosecutors announced the indictment Tuesday, naming Synergy Marine, based in Singapore and India. FBI investigations focused on the vessel's operations and whether the crew knew of critical issues before leaving port. Maryland officials estimate it will cost between $4.3 billion and $5.2 billion to replace the bridge. A new bridge is expected to open to traffic in 2030. The cost of conflict is increasing for the U.S. while the war in Iran continues. As Stephen Portney reports, the U.S. military requires more funding in order to repair the damage their military has sustained.
At a House hearing, the Pentagon's chief financial officer provided an update to lawmakers on the growing cost of the war. Jules Hurst previously said it was running upwards of $25 billion.
Now we think it's closer to 29. That's because of updated repair and replacement of equipment costs.
Importantly, Hurst says that estimate does not include the cost of rebuilding bases damaged by Iranian missiles and attack drones. That cost will depend on what the Pentagon determines should be rebuilt. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
eBay, the online shopping company with over 100 million users, received a bid from GameStop. However, as Mike Dabowski reports, eBay has rejected GameStop's offer.
After reviewing GameStop's offer, eBay CEO Paul Pressler says he's rejecting the proposal. GameStop had wanted to merge itself with eBay in a cash-and-stock deal valued at around $55 billion, a deal eBay now calls neither credible nor attractive. Analysts had been skeptical that GameStop could afford the offer, with Pressler citing uncertainty regarding GameStop's financing proposal. On Monday, GameStop indicated it wanted to issue more stock to raise funds, which would also dilute the value of existing shares. Mike Dabowski, ABC News.
For many artists in Vancouver, adapting creatively can become a part of a sustaining long-term career. BCIT's Lorraine Masamba spoke with local musician and illustrator Coco Bean about how a layoff pushed him towards publishing his first children's book.
Vancouver musician and illustrator Coco Bean says being laid off from work last year pushed him to rethink how he approached his creative career. Known locally for his involvement in music projects like Latchkey 90s and Sunday Brunch Boys, Bean recently released his first illustrated children's book, Breakfast for Dinner, a 72-page collection of rhyming stories inspired by birthday songs he created for his son. Bean says this project became a new creative outlet during a period of uncertainty.
I was writing many songs a day at the time, and I was just getting overwhelmed with how much I'm writing and how much I need to record, so I just wanted to put that off to the side and just channel my creativity elsewhere.
Bean says he's currently working on a second book expected to release later this year. Vancouver musician and illustrator Coco Bean says being laid off from work last year.
I'm Tyler Bereskin, and thank you for listening to BCIT's The Crow.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikki-King.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretanero.
And I'm Radhika Sikki-King. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
Hi, I'm Trevor Weinbrenner, and this is your sports news for 3:15. North Vancouver's own basketball player Brandon Clark tragically passed away at the age of 29. Brandon Clark died yesterday, but it was reported to the media today. Brandon Clark played 6 seasons in the NBA with the Memphis Grizzlies. The Memphis Grizzlies have confirmed Vancouver-born NBA player Brandon Clark has died at the age of 29. The Canadian press has more.
The Grizzlies didn't provide a cause of death for the forward in their announcement on X. Clark was drafted 21st overall in 2019 and played his entire career with the Grizzlies. He was named to the NBA All-Rookie First Team in 2020. Clark was limited to 2 games in the 2025-26 season due to right knee surgery and a right calf strain. Last month, he was arrested in Arkansas on charges including speeding and possession of a controlled substance. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver says Clark was a beloved teammate who played with passion and grit. Brenda Molina Navidad, The Canadian Press.
The Vancouver Whitecaps are back in action tonight against Dallas FC. The Vancouver Whitecaps tied in their last match 1-1. Sebastian Berhalter got the equalizer late in the 76th minute. This will be their first game back with star Whitecaps player Thomas Mueller, who was out for 10 days with a sickness. The Vancouver Whitecaps have teased a possible new announcement for the team yesterday. Our reporter Abigail Salisbury has more.
While many fans anxiously await an announcement on whether the Caps are staying in Vancouver or not, the team is instead posting a different type of teaser. Allegedly, the Whitecaps will be back at Swangard Stadium, returning for the Canadian Championship quarterfinals. As for the announcement of the team's future, Southsider president Kieran Nicol says losing the team is not an option.
Losing this team would be it would be unacceptable, honestly. It would be such a travesty, and we can't let it happen.
The Caps will possibly play at Swangard on July 8th. Abigail Salisbury, BCIT News.
The BCIT Recreation Services is going to offer some activities during this summer, which have never taken place during the previous ones. Our reporter, Ali Falal, has more on the decision.
For the first time ever, the BCIT Rec Center is providing students and the public with boxing classes during summer. The Recreation Services Assistant, Arnold DaCosta, says having the new student housing tall timber is one of the reasons behind this decision.
There's more people on housing living here in the summer. That gives these people something to do during the summer. There also is other students and staff on campus anyways, so that also gives them an opportunity to take these classes as well.
Summer boxing classes will start from May 25th and are open to all genders. Ali Fala, BCIT News.
Hockey Canada announces that Sidney Crosby will join Team Canada at the World Hockey Championship. Crosby just finished his season, losing to the Flyers in the playoffs in 6 games. Canadian Matthew Barzal, a New York Islanders forward, will miss the tournament with an injury. On to more NHL. The Montreal Canadiens take on the Buffalo Sabres in Game 4 of the second round tonight. The Canadiens took a 2-1 series lead after beating the Sabres 5-2 in Game 3. Jakub Dobish gets the net again for the Canadiens, who had a solid Game 3 start. The Sabres are shaking things up and starting Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen between the pipes. The Sabres are looking to win Game 4, so the series goes back to Buffalo tied 2-2. Continuing in the NHL, the Vegas Golden Knights take on the Anaheim Ducks in Game 5. The Ducks won Game 4 and look to beat the Knights on the road to take a 3-2 series lead back home. Mark Stone will not be in the lineup for the Vegas Golden Knights, and he's a key piece and is a big loss to the Golden Knights. More on the NHL. Charlie McAvoy, defenseman of the Boston Bruins, suspended 6 games. This was for his high stick to the face of Buffalo Sabres forward Zach Benson in their previous playoff series. The San Antonio Spurs are taking on the Timberwolves in Game 5 tonight. Star players. I'm Trevor Weinbrenner. Thanks for listening to BCIT The Crow.
Stay tuned.
everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the program.